Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the March 14th, 2024 public hearing of the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission is charged with regulating the subdivision properties in the unincorporated areas of Jefferson County. You will be given a decision of the commissions today regarding the subdivision request, and the plat representative will receive a decision in writing within 10 business days. Please note that any subdivision approved today is not complete. In order to complete the subdivision of your property, a final plat must be recorded in the office of Judge of Probate. County staff will be coordinating with the surveyors of today's approved preliminary plats to prepare the approved plats for recording. The Planning and Zoning Commission is also charged with evaluating requests for rezoning of property and advising the County Commission for the final determination. All decisions made by the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding zoning cases are advisory only, and the final determination of the zoning will be made by the Jefferson County Commission in a subsequent public hearing for which all property owners within 500 feet will be notified. Will you please silence all recording devices, please? Your phone, beepers, Nintendos, anything you have. Will the clerk please call the roll, please?
Yes. Jay Miller.
Here.
Cynthia Dawn. Christy Forsythe.
Here.
Patrick Gilbert.
Here.
Joseph Andrews. Joe Blankenship. Kenneth Cush. Here. Georgia McCoy O'Neill.
Here.
Trudy Strain.
Here.
Mike Thomas. Here. Kenneth McCurry. Here. Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Could I have a motion regarding the reading of the minutes from the February 8, 2004 public hearing, please?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of January, is it now February 8th?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First, we will hear subdivision cases. The staff will present the case to the board, and we will then call for opposition. The applicant and or the representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. We ask that you would come to the podium. Please state your name and address. Mr. Martin, Mr. Brown, Ms. Hughes, would you please present the cases? Our first case is S23-0073, applicant Bobby Lee Jones in the Mogul community.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a resurvey to divide one lot of record into two lots of record for residential use. This is an old subdivision, and these two parcels have existed for quite some time. This is somewhat of a cleanup job on this to bring this into two separate lots. Both of these lots are smaller than the 1 acre requirement for A1 zoning. However, the applicant did receive a variance from the Board of Zoning Adjustment in December to have less than the 1 acre requirement. There's no anticipated access or traffic operation issues. Right-of-way dedication by deed will be required for Van Salter Road and Kemney Road. I believe that has already been completed at this point. There's no floodplain and there's no sewer available, so the Jefferson County Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system and sign the final plat. Staff does recommend approval for this two-lot subdivision.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here? You wish to add anything to the presentation, sir? Okay. Any comments or questions from the commission? At this time, I call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S23-0073.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At the conclusion of your case, you may leave. You won't hurt her feelings, I promise you. Okay. All right. Case number S24-0004.
Yes, this is a subdivision to resurvey 4 acreage tracts into 4 lots of record for residential and agriculture use. You can see here the existing parcels lines on this tract of land. 4 lots that are being created up above the road right here on this side of Dickey Springs. Large acreage, 88, 2 lot there, 7 acres here, and 5 acres here. It does comply with A1 zoning. There was a plat 2 years ago. This is March 2022, where the Planning and Zoning Commission did approve a 4-lot subdivision similar to this. However, the final plat was never recorded. Right-of-way dedication will be required for South Butler Road. It's 25 foot from the center line where adjacent to the property. No flood hazard on this property, and again, there's no sewer available in close proximity to this site, so an on-site septic system will have to be utilized for the sewage waste disposal. Department of Health will have to approve that and sign the final plat. Staff does recommend approval for this 4-lot subdivision.
Well, this is South Butler Road in the Bessemer area. I forgot to mention that. Is applicant here? Applicant Mr. Bill Bailey, you wish to add anything to the presentation?
Mr. Bailey's here. I'm Jerry Peary, the surveyor.
Yes, sir. You wish to add anything to the presentation?
No, sir.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the commission? Any opposition? I call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-0004.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-0007. Applicant is Kevin Hinkle, Jettown Road Community around Mulga.
Yes, sir. This is a proposed subdivision of 1 acre tract being divided into 2 lots of record for residential use. You can see here the existing structures on each proposed lot. It does comply with A1 zoning requirements. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. No right-of-way education is required on Jettown. No flood hazard, and again, no sewer sanitary sewer available to this property. So the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval for this 2-lot subdivision.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here? Ms. Hinkle, you wish to add anything to the presentation? Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? Now call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-0007.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-0008. The applicant is John Richardson, 9550 Bradford Trafford Road in the Warrior community.
Yes, sir. This is a proposed subdivision. It was advertised as a 4-lot subdivision, which is the preliminary plat that was originally submitted, which is included in your package, was a 4-lot subdivision. However, because of a requirement for road dedication, it's actually turned into a 5-lot subdivision by virtue of that requirement. So this is a 5-lot residential and agricultural use subdivision. The adjacent property here was Jefferson Estates. It was approved and recorded in 1973, and as such, the remainder of this property was never platted. There's an existing road bed that actually connects Wood Knoll Lane and Norgate Road. And because of the lack of termination on both of those streets, Roads and Transportation has required that dirt road to be dedicated as a right-of-way for public use and maintenance by the county. It does meet all our A1 zoning requirements. There's no special flood hazard on this property. No sanitary sewer available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system for each lot and sign the final plat. Staff does recommend approval for this 5-lot subdivision.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
You wish to add anything to the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Richard, you're aware about the right-of-way and improvements? Okay. Any comments or questions from the commission? May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-0008.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-0009. Applicant is Casey Lucas regarding Clifton Lane in the Bessemer community.
Yes, so this is a resurvey to divide a portion of 1 lot of record into 3 lots for residential use. This is a Lot 3 of Rainey subdivision, which was recorded in the early 1900s. There's existing road that leads to a portion of the property, and the right-of-way has been dedicated by deed that extends down to the south end of the existing lot. As a part of that, the right-of-way on Clifton Lane, which is this road that's existing that terminates here, it has to be improved to minimum county standards, terminating with a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead. per the traffic engineer. There's no special flood hazard on this property and no sewer available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system for each lot. Staff does recommend approval for this 3-lot resurvey.
Thank you, sir. Is there any opposition to this case? The applicant here. Mr. Casey Lucas. Any questions or comments from the commission? I call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-0009.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-00010, applicant Larry Davis, regarding the property in the Warrior Jasper Road area.
Yes, sir. This is a subdivision to divide 1 acreage tract into 2 lots of record for residential and agricultural use. The proposed subdivision does comply with A1 zoning requirements. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. No right-of-way dedication is required. No flood hazard on this property. And again, no sewer is available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system and sign the final plat. Staff recommends approval for this 2-lot subdivision.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here, Mr. Davis? You wish to add anything to the presentation? Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? Okay. I call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-00010.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-00012. Applicant is Wesley Bitoli, regarding property in Orrin Miller Road in Warrior.
Yes, sir. This is a resurvey. It's to divide 1 lot of record into 2 lots for residential and agricultural use. We saw this plat here in 2022 when this 1-lot subdivision was recorded originally. It was a cleanup job from some divided land in the past. Bringing it forward now to section off 2 acres of that has frontage there on Orrin Miller Road. The proposed subdivision does comply with all our A1 zoning requirements. There's no road access or traffic operation issues anticipated. No right-of-way dedication is required because it's already been dedicated on that street. No flood hazard on this property, and again, no sewer, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval for this 2-lot resurvey.
Is there any opposition to this case, please? Is the applicant here? Any comments or questions for the commission? Can I call for a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S-24-00012.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Our next case is S-24-00013. Applicant is Thomas Dreyer, regarding property on Shannon Road in Bessemer Community.
Yes, sir. The purpose of the subdivision is to divide 1 acreage tract into 2 lots of record for residential use. You can see here on the aerial there's an existing home on the front of this lot, proposed lot 1. And it does require comply with all our A1 zoning requirements, with the exception of there's no road frontage. So an exception will need to be granted for that lot 2 to be recorded with no road frontage. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Shannon Road, 25 feet from the center line, where adjacent to the property. There's no flood hazard on this property, and there's no sewer. There is sewer that's approximately 664 feet away, but not directly accessible to this property. So the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval, with the exception to the subdivision regulations to allow Lot 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
Is there any opposition to this case, please? Yes, ma'am. Will you come forward? State your name and address, please.
My name is Mary Gerstacker. I live at, 1396 Swan Drive in Bessemer.
Yes, ma'am.
I have problems with this because, number one, there's no road access. They're going to have to build road access for that second lot. It's going to drain all the water right into my yard and the yard next to me. If it snows, there's no getting up and down Shannon Road. There's a blind curve at the top of the road, and I'm sorry,
It's okay, take your time.
a steep hill at the other side. So it's not accessible during any kind of snow effort. That lot has been there like that I've lived there 20 years, and the people next to me have lived there for 40 years. And suddenly we want to make 2 houses there. And it's going to disrupt everybody as far as the noise and the building will be so noisy. They're going to have to do an access road to it. I can't condone it. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Thanks, sir. Is the applicant here? Mr. Ayer, would you address her concerns, please, sir?
Yes, sir.
State your name and address, please, at the podium. I'm sorry.
My name's Thomas Trier, 173 Oxmoor Road, Wygam. At this time, my understanding with this subdivision was the gentleman to the northwest owns this tract and this, and the other one, and he's trying to cut out around the house so that he can give it to one of his relatives. That was the intent of all of this, so that they could deed it off to her and she could do what she wanted to with it. But as far as, I was not under the impression that they're going to be building any other residences over there. He just wants to retain it and give it to his relatives.
It says on the letter that they're going to build 2 houses there.
Okay.
Well, they're just subdividing property right now, ma'am, and they've been granted exception on those lots. There will not be access to those lots. Lots 1 and Lot 2 will not have access to it. That's been granted exception, so there won't be a road built there.
Well, how are they going to get to it then?
They've been granted exception. They don't have to have access to it. That'll be up to the owner. I'm sorry.
Maybe I can explain it to
Yes.
you. So this is it does not have road frontage. When we don't have road frontage, if it's less than 4 lots, you can have an easement, which is what it's coming from. So if you look back here at this piece of land, you can see here's the outline. It's a relatively large lot acreage compared to the ones around it. It's linear in nature. It's very deep. What Scotty has said is accurate from what I talked to the applicant, that he wanted to cut off the existing home that's here and be able to retain that acreage while being able to sell the home. The home site, Lot 1, so there's an existing home there, has an easement that goes through it, and that's how it would be a driveway easement. It would not be a road. It would be just a driveway. In the event that a home is constructed, like we said, there was no intention at this point. It would just, in order to sell that piece of property, he had to subdivide it.
Do you understand? Are there any questions or comments for the commission? Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Rayer? Okay. I'll call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S240013 with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow Lot 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Our next case is S24-00014. The applicant is Philip Hodge regarding property on Smithville Road in Trafford Community.
The purpose of this subdivision is to resurvey 2 lots of record and 1 acreage tract into 3 lots for residential use. The lots 1 and 2 of the Hodge family subdivision were approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission in September 7, 2017, and subsequently recorded. So this is an addition to that subdivision with an existing acreage tract. So there's no net gain of lots here. It's essentially resurveying the actual boundary lines, the configuration of such. The proposed subdivision does comply with A1 zoning requirements. An exception is required to allow the recording of the subdivision with lots 2A and 3A having no road frontage. Again, they have an easement here. And there's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. No additional right-of-way dedication will be required. No flood hazard, and there's no sewer available on this site, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff recommends approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 2A and 3A to be recorded with no road frontage.
Is there any opposition to this case, please? Is the applicant here? Do you wish to add anything to the presentation? Are there any questions or comments from the commission? I call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S240014 with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 2A and 3A to be recorded with no road frontage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is S24-00015. The applicant is Shirley Turbin regarding 5 Oaks Lane in the Vestavia community.
The purpose of this subdivision is to divide 1 acreage tract into 2 lots of record for residential use. You can see here there's an existing home already on this property, as well as a barn that's in the corner up here. The barn is on proposed lot A, and the home on lot B. The proposed subdivision does comply with our E2 zoning requirements. There is a note from a zoning administrator saying the barn structure on lot A will become existing nonconforming upon the subdivision of the property, and should the structure be removed prior to construction of a residence on the property, the structure could not be rebuilt prior to the establishment of a residence on the property. Also, any future residence would have to be constructed in front of the barn on the property to comply with the zoning requirements. So just some notes regarding that structure and zoning. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. The existing right-of-way is insufficient for 5 Oaks Lane and for Old Looney Mill Road, so that will have to be dedicated by deed prior to the final plat being recorded. There's no flood hazard on this property, and there's no sanitary sewer directly available, but is in close proximity to this property. So environmental services will have to sign the plat as well as the Department of Health. Staff does recommend approval for this 2-lot subdivision.
Thank you, sir. Any opposition to this case, please? Is the applicant here? Do you wish to add anything to the presentation? Are there any comments or questions for the commission? I call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of S24-00015.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our subdivision cases for today. Next, we will hear zoning cases. The staff will present the case to the board. We will then call for opposition. The applicant and their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. Each side will have a maximum of 15 minutes. The Planning Commission only makes recommendations on zoning cases. The Jefferson County Commission will make the final decision. Our first zoning case is Z24-0003. The applicant is Tom Messer. Is there any opposition to this case? Mr. Messer, could you come to the podium? I believe have a special request.
I would like to withdraw the request for the rezoning. Several things have come up since I did that. It was at the rezoning was suggested by the inspection services. I had a tree fall that jerked the meter box out of the back of the building and damaged a circuit breaker box that was attached to it inside. I called an electrical company to come out. They replaced the existing service. That's when we ran into a problem. I still have no power in this building, and I'm working on it. But I have talked to the landowner who owns most of the airstrip. His intent is to widen it back out and have it return as an airstrip, which would make my hangar property valuable again. And so after consideration, this will help me with the electrical service to the building if I go back to aircraft hangar instead of agricultural storage.
For the record, you do wish to withdraw this and not have a public hearing?
I do.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, our next case is Z24-0004. The applicant is Carla Heron regarding property of Mount Olive on Mount Olive Road.
Yes, sir. The property is actually located at 2700 Mount Olive Road. The property is currently zoned C1 commercial with covenants, and today we're requesting to have the property remain C1 and have the covenants removed. This is an aerial view of the property. Adjacent to the property to the north, we have a gas station and a church parsonage. To the west, we have a car wash. To the east, we have a Mount Olive Community Center, and to the south, we have an existing residence. The proposed use of the property is commercial. This is a street view of the property here. This is an illustration of the proposed bed spa. It's not exactly what it's going to look like because the applicant doesn't have the plans, but they sent this illustration to give a general idea of what they're proposing to build at this location. These are the existing covenants that we're asking to be removed. Before I go through this, I do want to give you a little history. This property was initially a car lot to the north. There was a resurveying of two lots, which you see here, right there in the green. They purchased their property and had it resurveyed and made it into one lot for an expansion of the car lot. It was supposed to be for an office building. It was approved with these covenants, and the covenants are a minimum of a 15-foot planted buffer shall be installed along the south property line where abutting residential property on the outside of any fence that may be erected. The 15-foot buffer is required anyway. Number two, all exterior lighting shall be directed downward onto the property and away from any residential development. Three, complete construction plans must be submitted and approved prior to commencing any disturbance or development activity on either parcel and before establishing any commercial activity on or use of the subject parcel that's required. I highlighted number four because that's the initial problem that we're running into today. It limited the commercial use to an office only, and what the applicant is proposing a metal spa, which is more of a professional building as opposed to an office. Number five, the office structure to be placed on the property shall maintain a residential appearance. And six, there should be no storage of vehicles for retail or wholesale sales. Here to the bottom right was a picture of the existing car lot at the time. Today, the staff this is a summary and recommendation from the staff. First of all, the office building was never constructed, so the property is pretty much vacant and undeveloped. The meta spa that they're proposing today, they're proposing it with a residential appearance. The meta spa will consist of 7 to 8 rooms, providing services such as Botox and fillers, medical grade facials, chemical peels referred by local dermatologists, hair, makeup, wig services, cryo pain management, etc. The surrounding area consists of several businesses. Due to the opposition and the appearance of the previous car lot, the covenants were put in place. The request today for the commercial zone district to remain is consistent with the long-range land use development plan of commercial. Staff recommends approval with one condition, that is that all exterior lighting shall be directed downward onto the property and away from any residential development. That's all I have.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here? Do you wish to add anything to the presentation? Okay. For the record, we do have a letter of support from, I think it's the Beechwood Baptist Church across the street. Is that correct? No. Okay. Any comments or questions from the commission? May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval to Z 240004 with a condition that all exterior lighting shall be directed downward onto the property and away from any residential development.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is Z24-0005. The applicant is Richard Byers regarding Willow Bend Lane in the Bessemer community.
Yes, sir. This property, the applicant's requesting to rezone this property from R1 single family to A1 agriculture for residential use of a mobile home. We have the area view here. The existing zoning is R1 single family. The proposed use is rural village. This is just a street view of the property. It doesn't really show, but there's a mobile home currently on the property. Staff summary and recommendation, the applicant is proposing to bring an existing mobile home into compliance. Mobile homes are not allowed in R1 single family zone district. The lot is approximately 21.22 acre. The site abuts A1 zone district on two sides, that's to the north and to the east. The zoning of A1 is consistent with the future land use plan and the residential use of a mobile home. Staff recommends approval. That's all that I have.
Is there any opposition to this case? Is the applicant here? So you wish to add anything to the presentation? Are there any comments or questions from the commission? Now call for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of Z 240005.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next case is Z24-0006. Applicant is William Belmont regarding property in the Centerpoint community of Birmingham.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned, this is a rezoning request from A1 to I1 to allow a big number one showroom and sales room at 4370 Valley Road. The county's long-range future land use plan does not designate future land use for this property. And so in these cases, we determine if the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area. This is the county's existing land use map, which shows you presently that the property is vacant and undeveloped, but surrounding the property, to the west is Interstate 59, to the east is Attic Plus Storage, north is Joe Hudson's Collision, and to the south, on both sides of Valley Road, are two mobile homes. The aerial view of the site shows you the same uses. This is the county's current zoning map. Again, the property is designated presently as A1 agricultural. Surrounding the property in the city of Trussville or within the Trussville jurisdiction to the north and to the east, the property is zoned C1 commercial. To the south in unincorporated Jefferson County, the property is zoned A1 where the mobile homes are located. And again, to the west is Interstate 59. This is the applicant's site plan, which shows the proposal of a 12,000 square foot showroom and office building, along with parking spaces. Outdoor display, sales display is proposed, as well as a septic tank. Public sewer is not available to this site. Staff recommends the following. Along with his summary, proposes a 12,000 square foot big number one motorsport showroom and sales room with office space on 3.43 acres, including outdoor storage. Motorcycles, all-terrain, and utility attached vehicles and Sea-Doos will be sold on premise with outdoor sales display. The proposed use with outdoor storage is in character with land uses in the general surrounding area. Staff recommends the following condition. Number one, limiting uses to an auto showroom and sales center with outdoor storage for sales display and C1 zone district uses only. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any opposition to this case, please? Is the applicant here? Sir, you wish to add anything to the presentation? Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? May I call for a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval for Z 240006 with a condition that the use be limited to an auto showroom and sales center with outdoor storage for sales display and assembly, and any use allowed in the C1 commercial zoning district.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This concludes our meeting, March 24th meeting of Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you.
What I gotta look up at you? We got through in a hurry, didn't we? Going in the dungeon. That's quicker than I thought.